And welcome to Life Support Live, the weekly live show that explores how Star Trek can help us to boldly go in our own lives to better ourselves and the rest of humanity.
As a famous starship captain once said, as well as another famous starship captain who also said, wherever our mission takes us, we'll try to have a little fun along the way.
Hi everyone, I am psychologist Dr. Ali Mattu.
And I'm Dr. Trekland, Nemecek. One of us is a real doctor.
And as always, we'll leave it to you to figure out who that might be. Larry, welcome to a special episode this week.
Wait a minute. This ain't Saturday morning.
It's not. We're in the middle of a weekday. And not only are we in the middle of the weekday, we're about to watch a movie in the middle of a Tuesday. How wonderful is this?
What is this, some kind of crazy holiday week thing or something? What's going on here?
We're on a little holiday schedule, that's right. We're not doing our live show on Saturday. Usually Life Support Live is a weekly live Star Trek show where we talk about the intersection of Star Trek and mental health. It's a fun time for us to hang out.
Through uncertain times.
Yes, and those times keep getting more uncertain. And we're skipping this Saturday in observation of American Thanksgiving and to spend a little bit of time with our friends and family. But we didn't want to leave you hanging. Larry, what are we doing today?
By popular demand, we've had a couple of watch-alongs so far. We've done a movie, we've done an episode on regular Saturday, and we are watching First Contact. Now, I've tried to put out on all the promo that it's BYOM. It's Bring Your Own Media. So yes. We're going to keep it going here. Now, if you're new to Saturday Night Live, if you're new to Saturday Night Live, I haven't said Saturday so much in this show ever. If you're new to Life Support Live, we've got a very active and a wonderful community here in chat. So join in right there. As Will Rogers once said, make a new friend tonight. Rub the shoulders of the person in front of you. No, you can watch everybody take off. We got a lot of regulars. There'll be a lot of some inside jokes, but please feel free. And of course, we're watching the movie, so that'll take up a lot of our bandwidth too. We're going to watch each other. We're going to just talk as we go along. When it's done, we've got a little bit of time to open the hailing frequencies, as we say, and we can be interactive with the chat too. So, I was around for First Contact. My wife, Janet, wound up being assistant script coordinator for it, which meant she was there when Bob Gillen, who was the DS9 normally and was supposed to do it, when he would go home and they'd be working on pages late at night, she did enough and Rick was pissed off enough at Bob that she got a credit. This is the only time. In those days, that's the only time she ever got a credit. Nowadays, they give everybody in their dog walkers, veterinarians, dentists,
Does that mean we're going to see Janet in the credits?
Yes, she has a credit.
Yeah! Oh, gosh. That's exciting. Stay tuned to the end, folks. I say that, but it's not like we're showing the movie. We can't break copyright. So in that spirit, right now, what you want to do is you want to fire up your copy. Get it ready. Get your copy of Star Trek First Contact ready. What we're going to do is we're going to time it together so we're all starting the movie at about the same time. Now, the runtime is 1 hour, 50 minutes. So if we're off by a few seconds, that's okay. It's not like we need to be perfectly in sync. And almost all of us... Yeah, we've all kind of seen this movie before. We kind of know what we're in for. But get your copy ready on our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/life support live. Jared was kind enough to share a list of places where you can watch this movie. If you're in the United States and you have access to CBS All Access, it's very easy to access there. Larry, I think you mentioned Amazon Prime has it
It's on
as well.
Amazon Prime, and if you're on the library-focused app called Hoopla, it's on Hoopla for free too. No commercial. Those are the three places where it's free if you're a subscriber and no commercials. And then there's some other places that have it free with commercials, which will throw off your timing a little bit. But that's that.
Yep. But we are going to be giving you some updates as we're watching in case you get a little off track and you want to make sure you follow along. But of course, you probably might have
you just have your disc.
You might have your physical media as well. A lot of benefits to having that. One is your computer isn't doing running all the horsepower of trying to do a live stream and then also like downloading a stream and uploading Larry and me. So if you have physical media, this would be a good time to get it.
I'm on the old pad here. So and we'll start with the Paramount, as we always used to say, start with the Paramount stars, right?
Yes, start with the Paramount stars. Always good advice. So folks, we're going to be hanging out in the comments below. We're going to be watching this live. Larry, I think do you want to do the honors and count us down to engage?
Oh my gosh, do I have to do it in Klingon? Okay, no.
I prefer Federation Standard, which I'm guessing is English. I'm guessing that's a thing. I just made that up.
Okay, yeah, well, Federation Standard, that's kind of the traditional thing, yeah. I guess the music we did hear the music at the end, didn't we? We did get music.
You know what I did, folks? I had the music muted. I am so sorry. I will make sure the music is playing at the end in full.
Okay, because it'll be the sad music then. That's obviously what we want then. Let me see. I was just looking to see if anybody had some words of wisdom before I counted us down.
Here's a good word of wisdom is we're doing the movie, not the TNG episode. Yes. For all of you big fans of the TNG episode First Contact, that is not it.
We are not going to Malcoria 2. Okay. For 3. I think it's Malcoria 3. Yeah, no BB Neworth in this. Okay, there's all those K3s just popping at you. Okay, little things. Yeah, black alert, get ready to jump. Very good, Jared. Okay. Nathan, I can't. I got used to doing this on Tuesdays Live, now I can't. Nathan Robinson says, is this going to get crazier than Larry's commentary with Ira Stephen Bear? No, we're not going to try to top that. We'll just do it in our own inimitable way, I'm sure. Okay.
Dan says you haven't heard Larry count down until you've heard him in the original Klingon.
Oh, you guys expecting too much. I can kapla with the best of them, but it's about my extent. But,
great songs will be sung of Larry's countdown.
Notice how that was English. Okay. In standard. The TNG episode is a great ep. Yes.
All right, Larry. I'm turning over the con to you.
All right, let's do it.
Count us down.
I've got my stars. Oh, my stars. They're right here. And let's go. 5, 4, 3. Ignition sequence started. You should see flame. No. 3, 2, 1. And...
All
these
right.
are the official Paramount trumpets.
So, Larry, I saw this the day it came out, and I remember I didn't go to a premiere or anything. I was not invited. I was very much not of that world. But I remember they gave a free poster, a mini poster of the Phoenix and of the Enterprise D, a cutout schematic version of it, and I treasured that. And I also freaked out when I saw the intro logo become assimilated. And this music, when I heard this theme for the first time, it was, oh my gosh, I was almost brought to tears. I've always been frustrated that The Next Generation didn't have its own theme. It was really the Jerry Goldsmith theme from the motion picture. But when I heard this, I was like, this is it. This is the TNG theme.
TNG finally got its theme. Well, it's funny you talk about the music. Well, I saw this it was a crew cast and screening on the lot. I didn't go to the big hoopla red carpet screening. I didn't cover it like we think of now. I always liked because I knew a lot of people. Plus, I was writing about all of them for the book and in the magazine. This was 2 years before Communicator came to me, but had done the Next Generation campaign, and so many of these people. That's what Rick did. He brought along so many people to the movies. Now it was more so in Generations. On this one, they backed up. Jonathan's directing now, but John Knoll is a visual effects supervisor who is John Knoll, who invented Photoshop. Everybody.
Whoa.
Yeah. Deborah Everton was they didn't. Bob Blackman. They were doing 2 series at the same time. Remember, so a lot of people just almost killed them. So it's in these major creatives here at the front. Now Herman was doing double duty, but he was taking time away from the series. Matt Leonetti was the DP. He wasn't a series DP, but and Marty Hornstein was a movie producer. But you'll see a lot. Mike Westmore oversaw the makeup. Bob Justman designed this is the premiere of the Grey Tops uniforms.
Yeah, so that's something about this movie. The original trailer, it was more of a teaser. It recycled a lot of footage from TNG, from Star Trek 6, from all of that. So we didn't have a good view of what the new Enterprise, the new uniforms, the new sets were going to look like until this moment.
All
right
meant
here.
to be all meant to be teaserly. Well, they gradually let you know it was about Borg and all that. But yeah.
But even the effects were not quite what we saw until we saw the first full trailer. And it was so nice to see the Next Generation really get a cinematic treatment. With Generations, even some of the effects in Star Trek Generations were recycled from episodes, or from previous movies like The Bird of Prey.
That Bird of Prey gets blown up every other day.
Oh my gosh, it gets blown up all the time. So to see completely new effects, new uniforms, new sets, and to see Star Trek really embrace a Next Generation villain was, it felt so refreshing. And one of the things that I think about, I get really squirmish at this, the eye. Ugh.
Mental health end on that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Now here we go. But look behind him. He's got the Malkorian, the Mintakan that was given him that was always on his chair on the D.
Oh, yeah.
Thank Big John Dwyer. All the set dressing in all of these until the Stuart Baird disaster. All the set dressing, there's a lot of carryover from the D, a lot of the touches. Oh, wait.
And we have an Inception. It was a dream within a dream.
It was a Moriarty. It was
Thanks to Nemesis, I always see this and I'm like, oh, Janeway's about to appear. And then I realize no.
Nope.
Now, have we seen this Admiral before?
Yes, he was on the series. See? Another touch.
Yes, I know. The Borg. You
have engaged the Borg.
Oh, Larry, I love the view of the E right there. This slow... It's almost like the motion picture or the pod docking. We get a nice slow reveal of the brand new Enterprise.
We call that a beauty pass.
A beauty pass. I love those beauty passes.
Galactic Nebula behind it was Hubble imagery.
What? I love that.
It's escaped me at the moment. Someone's going to know it in the chat. I want to say it's not the Horsehead Nebula. They used that on Voyager. But that was an actual astronomical image from the Hubble that had been souped up and specially sent to Star Trek to use.
Well, let me do a little reverse K3. I don't know if that's a thing. The theme here to First Contact was also used by NBC in the Nagano Winter Olympics as well, in some of their coverage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this set, they're using the observation room on the D. They have the same window. They were so expensive to make that they're using the same curved window pieces in the set here, even though they built a new-ish set for it, since the D was long gone.
Cairo brings up Geordi and his new eyes. So, Larry, I believe the story there is LeVar Burton was just tired of wearing the visor. Is there more to that?
Well, they had played with it all along since like
Yeah.
second or third season. Pulaski said, "I think I can replace your eyes," and yeah, this was very nice.
Oh yeah. I just love their relationship there.
Uh huh.
And also the little sarcastic, the character, the actors are settled into their characters. They have a comfort with each other. We're seeing this level of comfort that I think we saw in the motion picture in The Wrath of Khan as well with the original series crew.
Well, and here's this whole remember, I think I've talked about this whole mentality of the Romulans are so boring. The Romulans are so boring. So boring. Which comes back to bite, Michael Piller on Insurrection, and then he has to watch the next 15,000 new Star Treks, or he watches from wherever he is now. All be about Romulans. Of Nine and Picard and Nemesis and
So I got to bring up here trauma. The Starfleet is obviously concerned about Picard's past, about they've engaged the Borg, and I love that it's Troy delivering that line.
and the Borg's dad is just thrilled about it.
Yeah. Well, I love that Starfleet here is concerned about his trauma.
First bridge. Ooh, the new bridge.
Oh, the new bridge! I love this bridge. And we see it change a bit in Insurrection as well as Nemesis. But in First Contact, I feel like it's just the perfect size and the perfect colors. It's works so well. But I want to talk about trauma here a little bit. It's life support live, Larry. We are live, and I am life supporting right now. I think Starfleet Medical would have done evaluations and assessments and would have already deemed Picard to be ready to rejoin an encounter with the Borg. I think Picard has gone through his growth and he has the support of his crew here. He's in a good place to take them on.
Tracy Lee Coco back there, Lieutenant J, whose name was never said on screen. She just came up with that.
Can we talk Lieutenant Hawk? Do you have any K3s for us, Larry?
So Lieutenant Hawk, he told me when they were shooting that it was really weird because he said there's been a lot of speculation. I mean, whether he was gay here or not, or whether this was never mentioned. It was never part of the character. But he told me that he was trying to make him an Okie. He was trying to make him an Oklahoman, a little bit of an Oklahoma drawl, which I'm like, at the time I was like, well, that's cool. And then I watched.
Hold on, Larry. I need to appreciate this jump to warp.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I love the Enterprise E and that warp. Okay,
it's so
please
cinematic.
continue.
It's so shadowy.
Oh my gosh, now we're about to see the Defiant. When I saw this, I was so excited.
Here's the drum pounding Borg theme. Did you get excited, Ali?
I got so excited. Now, Larry,
yeah.
Why is Sisko not in command of the Defiant?
He was on some emissary thing at the time.
Oh, right.
Couldn't be in the war. No,
he's doing non-linear time stuff.
Because his agent is nowhere near as good as Michael Dorn's.
Notice the Klingon theme right there? It's either the Klingon theme or aliens are coming from Alien. One of those. Watch out for the xenomorphs. Oh, and this, Larry, the scale of the Defiant and Enterprise. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. So the other thing that I was really excited about in this moment, that's a
Captain. You do know O'Brien's no longer in Transporter Room 3. I don't think it's our best transporter room.
He might be on the Defiant. So they made a lot of new starships.
See, the holoscreen. Can I just rant on about how the damn thing is not a real piece of glass? It's a holo viewer. It was the cool thing. Now every friggin' ship has a piece of glass out there with, embedded crystals, blah, blah, blah. But the whole point was it wasn't just a window. But that's the only time they actually depicted it being a holo. Because otherwise it's just this boring piece of carpet across the front.
And it's also... In the technical manual for Next Generation, it's very clear that the view screen was always designed to be a 3D projection. So they're actually seeing in 3D. They're not seeing in 2D.
Stage area in the front of it.
Okay, Larry, tell me about these starships. We have not Nova class. We have Steam Runner, Akira.
The first all CGI ships, no models ever built for them, were in this.
Although the Sovereign here is a model. It was the last.
They did build a model. They wound up doing it with, and then they wound up by the end not using it. I mean, by the later movies. But that's the Steam Runner, the Saber, and the other one,
Akira.
No, I said that.
No, that's a lot of starships to build for one movie in those days. But maybe the turn to CG,
Yeah, it was an ILM thing, and I've gone blank on the guy. But it was a big thing. It was like a little thing, but I was like, holy crap, it's the first 4 CGI starships ever made only. And I went up
little ship. What came first, Larry? Tough little ship from Will or from Thomas on Deep Space Nine?
That was early 3rd season. 90.
So I think that means Thomas said it first. Will said it second.
95. Yes, Thomas said it first.
Yeah. Hashtag Thomas said it first, folks. Chronometric particles.
Not chronometric, but chronometric. That's interesting.
Chronometric.
This
effect is beautiful, Larry.
It's Vortex number 47 for Star Trek. This is movie budget Vortex time.
They also did a really great shake right there as they entered that temporal wake. They were all in sync.
You have a shake scale? Yeah.
I do have a shake scale. This is high on it. Usually Star Trek is not so high. I know with, I believe it was Star Trek Into Darkness, or it might have been Star Trek Beyond, the first time they actually had... they would actually have the capability to move the bridge, but it's usually the sort of lean in as you shake the camera.
Bridge, and it was like no big deal. It's like all this hyperkill for nothing. They didn't really do. It's like
they destroyed it. They blew it up. They blew up the damn ship.
Yeah.
I must follow them back. Repair whatever damage they've done.
So there's few people here as possible.
Oh gosh, the image of the assimilated Earth. This movie does such a beautiful job of visual storytelling, of showing, not telling.
Look at that, a drone shot before drones.
Oh yeah,
and this is all up. I was so disappointed because I just wanted to go up to in the Angeles Crest area where they filmed this and go see the sets live one time, and I never. It was like, oh, they're making it. I didn't have a press pass thing. I didn't want to push it, so I was really disappointed I didn't get up there when they had everything up and built.
Tell me a little bit more, Larry. Where was this shot? This is not Bozeman, Montana.
I tried to go up and recreate this for our tour potentials, but it's up the windy road up in the Angeles Crest Mountains above Glendale. It's like it's fire scene. It's had a bug infestation since then and was closed. There've been fires up that way. But this is all at a campground, one of the campgrounds up in the National Forest, northeast of Los Angeles.
I love how Scott says visual storytelling. We call that directing. Good point, Scott. Larry.
So originally, it got retconned to be Bozeman, and Bozeman is Brandon's one of his hometowns, by the way. That's why.
Is why it became Bozeman. Montana.
But in earlier drafts, this was just called Resurrection City, and they didn't say where it was. You just knew it was out in the woods somewhere. Yeah. And that
Bozeman is a lot better than Resurrection City.
That was called the Crash and Burn Bar. But that's what they called it. That's not what it wanted to be called.
So, I mean, what's interesting to me is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Larry, the creative team behind Star Trek First Contact was largely the same creative team behind Star Trek Generations. But you have a lot of differences in the writers of the script were the same folks.
Ron and Brandon
Yeah. And so you see the difference between what happens on the timeline of Star Trek Generations, what happens with the to-do list that they were given of all the things that have to get done with Generations versus a little bit more of a blank slate on what's possible with Star Trek First Contact.
Yeah, and they were both this is 96, so they both Brandon and Braun were both separately working, Brandon on Voyager and Ron on DS9, and they came back and did this. And the big thing about this, I did this in the companion for the first time, and it's since, I mean, if you're studying, they originally had it flipped. Once the plot splits, and there's some on Earth in the past, and some are up on the Borg are attacking the ship upstairs, and downstairs is the whole thing with Cromwell. And originally it was Picard on the surface and Riker up with the Borg. And then along the way they said it's
Right.
crazy. The Borg thing should be Picard's personal devil to deal with,
Yeah.
and so they flipped it. And so
Yeah.
Riker was downstairs and Picard was upstairs.
We got a question here from Cairo, Larry. Quantum torpedoes, fire. First time we're seeing quantum torpedoes?
I'm trying to. I think they'd been on DS9 already on the Defiant.
And the Defiant has quantum
I
torpedoes.
could be
Yeah.
wrong, but I'm thinking my first instinct is to say, although you would think they would say quantum torpedoes, because it was this whole thing about let's save the new ship and the new stuff and the new uniforms for the movie, and then everything else gets the leftovers. But anyway,
All right. So how did we get Alfred and Alfred Woodard
you know
and
that Alfred is Jonathan's godmother in real life?
no, Jonathan
Wait,
Frakes?
yes.
Well, maybe that's how we got Alfred Woodard in this
One of the
movie.
reasons, but yeah, they just thought it was cool to have his.
And
Yeah.
this isn't James Cromwell's first appearance in Star Trek. He was in an episode.
He was in
What episode?
wacky. He's such an interesting actor. He's not about the ego.
No.
He's a Uridian. He's Jaglin Shrek that tricked Worf into thinking his father was alive. He played a Uridian. He played the prime minister of the rot up their ass planet with the super the with the super killer soldiers. Roga Danar that got mentioned on
Roga Danar. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Roga Danar's like super stiff prime minister leader guy was him. He wore another prosthetic in it, I think in a DS9 too. But no,
So, and putting it in context, this is coming on the heels of Babe. He was he was quite popular in Babe, and
mhm.
so this is another great tradition of the Star Trek films of getting really hot actors at that time to play starring roles. And unlike the next film or the previous film, those starring actors play roles that are generally well liked.
Well, okay, and just passing here, I've never got a chance to go there myself, but this is all shot at the Titan II Museum in Arizona.
Oh, very cool.
It's like
I
they
did not
kept
know
one
that.
Titan in a silo to remind people what the Cold War missile silos look like.
Huh. Is that still open? Can you still go there?
I think it is.
Is
I haven't checked in on it, but I hope it's still open.
that would be a great Trekland destination. Jared, please put that on our list of potential retreats for Life Support Live. Um,
Here,
Larry, any
Beverly
yeah.
Crusher actually gets a scene, and of course she's delivering information. She never gets to have a real scene, sadly. Come on, Rebecca, I threw that in for you.
Rebecca commented on Blonde Crusher. Big thumbs up. Larry, Phoenix. Any insights on the Phoenix? How we got this name? Connection to the larger Star Trek canon?
Just just Phoenix as in rising from the ashes, and
Yeah.
that's what his coming of the ashes of World War III.
So
Bolian.
oh yeah, Bolian enlisted officer, not just cutting hair there, folks. First shot of engineering.
Yes, yes. And in real life, they shot all these scenes first, and then when they Borgified it, they called it the Borg Hive, and it all got Borgified. I mean, all the cables in the dark and everything. But that's the pristine beauty view of engine. See, all this was location shot. They didn't have to build any of this, and
That's
that's
wonderful.
the
Saved a
Titan
lot of
missile
money.
sitting there from the museum.
Wow. It brings even more relevance to this scene right over here, where
This is yeah.
the
I refer to
historical irony line.
I refer to this scene a lot here. The touch, the tactile. I would think it would be a
I
big
love this.
yeah.
I mean, this is a nice moment of Picard teaching Data more about humanity, and it's also very much connects to all of us in the audience. I mean, we want to touch a Apollo capsule, right? Like
Right.
it's this connection to us, but also an extension of Data and Picard's relationship. It's beautiful, and the Smithsonian, mentioning it in the Smithsonian, it's a wonderful moment here. Is there a
Oh,
just
wait. Got to have the punchline. Okay, it's a minute. I'm at titanium casing, so I'm.
yeah, me too.
Oh, here it is. Troy gets a McCoy line. Yay. Okay. Can you just see him?
Just
Would you three like to be alone? Can you see
just
him?
Janice
Although
Larry has a question. Is there a starship named Phoenix in Starfleet?
I am not thinking right off, but you would think, oh my God, for sure there ought to be. I'm trying to think in the later. It would have to be either in later DS9. I
No.
don't think so, or something. You would think so. It doesn't.
And then an update from Al Dean says yes, the Titan Museum is up and running on a modified schedule. So that's
Well,
great
everything
to
is.
hear.
I mean, COVID time, but it's not.
Yeah.
Hasn't in the last 20 years hasn't gone under. Oh, the
Rebecca,
BBS content.
Rebecca says, "Excuse me while I stroke my starship." You're describing a lot about youth there, Rebecca. Um,
Yeah,
so Larry,
I'm
up to
scrolling
the
the chat. Tim brought up a thing. A lot of people were going, "Isn't Jamie Cromwell too old to play Cochrane?" And versus how he'd looked in Metamorphosis, and everybody came up with the thing that between World War III and working around unshielded radiation that he'd been aged, and so then the companion, by the time you see it later in the timeline, the companion had rejuvenated him. So we retconned that the hell out of that. He's earlier there.
and Jared's got an update for us. Maxwell's ship was a USS Phoenix.
Okay, but that was before the. Okay, fine.
Yeah. So we have a Phoenix.
It's pre-retconning. Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Um.
It
Uh.
was.
So Larry, up until this
That's right.
point, we knew about James Cromwell. I mean, not James Cromwell. Jeffrey Cochrane. I'm just all over.
Zephram, I think. Yes.
Yes. Zephram Cochrane. We knew about Zephram Cochrane. We had seen him in the original series. We knew about First Contact ushering in this era. Now, wait, this is Voyager, right?
Voyager's sick bay, yes.
Yeah,
Only
yeah,
recolored, repainted.
yeah.
Yeah.
Made much more sovereign looking with the colors. Yeah. Nurse
True.
Ogawa.
Here you go. Cameo number 1. Oh, not yet.
And Larry, this cameo is perfect. This cameo
It makes
is
total sense. Yeah.
But so what I was saying is, we know about First Contact and its role, but we didn't know any specifics, right, leading up to this film.
About what? Oh no, we didn't. What do you say? Specifics about what?
The context in which Earth was, World War III. Well, no, actually, we knew a little bit about that.
Well, a little bit. You just knew it was about Borg and First Contact and.
No, I mean like the circumstances of First Contact in the larger Star Trek canon.
See, I'm bad about this because I'd been working on the thing for months before and was not a good what was revealed at the time. I'm having to recreate it. Now that's Simon, the guy behind him there. He was an extra all through Next Generation too. We were talking about. And say there she is back behind there. He doesn't sound very oaky there. See, that's what.
No, he really doesn't. But
Weapon,
Oki
shields,
access might.
propulsion. I could have showed him
All
what
right.
to say, how to do it oaky.
Now you'd think Data here would just use his Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connection and kind of like do some encryption even faster than the ants, but
That is so transistor as would be to a translator. So no. Here we go.
this is just a wonderful moment too.
Mm-hmm. Narrate this for me, Dr. Boy. I swore I'd never use one of these. And the crowd went, ah!
Oh, I lost it when this happened too.
Well,
Now
half of
here,
the crowd
folks,
went, ah.
folks, you have Star Trek doing a cinematic universe better and before anyone else. This is before the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, see that hatch? They built that hatch for this. If you're watching Voyager, before First Contact, there's no hatch there. After First Contact, there's a little hatch.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. That's a nice little tidbit.
Yeah. They cut that for this moment to do that bit. Because no one ever
perhaps you'd like an analgesic cream. I also really love that we haven't seen a drone yet. We know that they're building suspense. The reveal is going to be wonderful. This is Star Trek doing a little bit of horror and suspense genre.
Oh yeah.
Which is a ton of fun.
Ooh, the new rifles. Ooh, look, an armory. Ooh.
Yeah. So
it's a big honking pad.
Yeah, there's a very big pad. I remember.
What's the point? They were so proud of that interacted. That was like his tapping the button and having it time out. That was this was like 96. They were so all the art guys were so.
And Nathaniel's asking, how often does Ollie have to hold back Borg in his practice? It happens a lot more often than I'd like.
How often do you have to duck into the little hatch specially cut in the side of the wall for the Jeffries?
Larry, does that LCAR's massive pad have Face ID?
Well,
or Touch ID?
Just do that for anybody. You got to be Captain Picard to have the big honking pad.
Right.
Geordi gets his little red one, but you've got to be there. So it didn't wreck them totally.
So, okay, this is just a wonderful scene. Did Marina Sirtis get drunk for this scene? No. She plays it well. All right, so Larry, one thing.
I don't know. It almost was like the best Deanna scene up until this time. And they just have way too much fun here. and Jonathan too. It's like.
Oh yeah, no, all three of them.
Good. It's interesting to see all the things that World War III didn't totally wipe out.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about.
Alcohol and alcoholism. But if you've been through
alcoholism,
if you'd survived World War III, I think you're entitled.
That wasn't so good.
How about a little vaudeville in Star Trek here, too?
So, all right, this is something that I think a lot of people forget, and you just mentioned it, Larry. Star Trek is a post-apocalyptic story. Our first contact occurs after Earth has the population of Earth has almost been completely decimaed.
If you
people forget this
dark series, set a series post World War III leading up to. Is that from Cochrane scrounging around an old?
Someone mentioned that. Yeah, someone mentioned that already.
Insane,
And so I did this talk. Maybe someone can share it in the comments. It's a don't judging my counseling technique.
Do you ever do
now that is a line I do all the time. I do all the time with my colleagues, with my commanders.
Criticize my counseling technique.
You're blended, all right.
All right. This is one of the best. This is just the best Deanna Riker.
Oh, yeah. This is, again, them being so comfortable, the actors being so comfortable in their roles, and the writers just knowing these roles so well.
I would almost say this in Nepenthe.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Insurrection Nemesis, which came later, but never
Well,
had the.
I do like their rekindling in Insurrection. Oh, Ed.
That's hard for him. That whole timing, how they were going to do the physicality of that. Anyway,
And James is dancing there. Oh, another wonderful shot of the Enterprise. Okay, so Larry, I want to mention this real quick. I do this talk about the psychology of of Star Trek's utopian future, and one of the things I talk about is how difficult it is and almost impossible. The chances are, if we meet an alien, we won't be able to have communication with them. They'll look nothing like us. And history has shown first contact usually goes very horribly on Earth, the first contact between different cultures. But having a common goal, having something that we would need to unite around, might be something that can help us to get through. And this is where I think it ties to Star Trek First Contact. The conditions for the next 50, 100 years of peace and prosperity might have occurred because of this mass apocalypse that happened on Earth. And when I first did this talk back in 2012, I talked about how the EU might be a model moving forward and how climate change might be our global devastation. Now, I'm wondering about things like the pandemic. Will what comes next from the pandemic set the stage for more global cooperation at a level that we've never seen? Because we need to be prepared for the next
the
virus
same way the plague kind of led into the Enlightenment and the Renaissance. I mean,
Yes.
medievalism and serfdom, and then the plague, and then you had a rebound. Whoever's left standing kind of appreciates life a little more. I don't know, and wants to do
Yeah.
better.
There's a quote that's been sticking around in my head a lot is I'm paraphrasing it, but we're not going to know if we're headed towards a utopia or dystopia until the very end. And I think we might be entering a time in our species history where it's going to be do or die. We either rise to these challenges of our interdependence upon one another, or we're not able to meet the challenges, and whether it's a pandemic or climate change, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. But this movie is about that, Larry. Star Trek is about that. It's about World War III, this devastation, and us finding a new way to move together, finding hope and working together through it.
Earlier drafts of this, the way the Enterprise opening credits were kind of that montage of history. The earlier drafts of First Contact, they started with the Borg doing historical research on Earth. Like the Borg are trying to find the best temporal point to attack, like weak spot to attack, and they finally settle on this. Oh, look, they're all depleted and they're about to, if we can just cut off the thing. Anyway, but it starts with them going through everything from ancient times through the world wars, but they show some footage of World War III that was going to be, put together. Anyway, that wound up not being used. But it was going to be like the opening of the movie was going to be, you see all this historical stuff, and then you pull back and see it's a bunch of Borg drones watching it. And then at the end of the sequence, the Borg Queen, you hear her voice, or you barely see her or something. But
Just Janice asks, who in the Star Trek universe would you want to have a drink with, Larry?
Any time period?
Any time period. It's a whole Star Trek universe.
I would, okay, my go-to answer has always been McCoy, but now you're going to make me think maybe.
Yeah, this is a tough question.
Yeah. What kind of drink? He says who in the past. Not just who in the Star Trek past, in the real past. Yeah.
My immediate answer was Guinan. Just because I think it would be such a pleasant experience.
Many says who in the Star Trek universe. Yeah, I see. What's funny is they went through 3 different phaser rifle designs over the course of filming this.
Oh, I missed Tim's comment, and I wasn't able to give a little ooby dooby. Ooby dooby! Ooby dooby 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 doo doo-wah doo-wah doo-wah.
I think you'd missed it.
I did.
Okay.
Well, there you go. They've adapted, Larry.
Oh, no.
Oh, Worf is just like, well, I'm just going to use this phaser as a baseball bat.
We have engaged the Borg. Yeah.
Oh, it's so great to see Data's strength here. And all right, folks. So we're also seeing now little elements of what we call re-traumatization. It's when someone who's gone through a trauma is put in a similar circumstance where it's bringing about their traumatic symptoms again. Now we're beginning to see Picard having a bit of difficulty having to come in contact with the Borg again. I think that's very realistic there. Now that, although Larry, that is not realistic. Data just standing by this. Data's like doo 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 doo. He's standing. He's pulled up from under me. That's the one scene in this whole movie that I'm like, not buying it.
See, and that's why when they were designing the E back at Starfleet, that one guy said, "Why are you putting a Starfleet door on a Starfleet ship?" I just think it'll be interesting sometime. No, it's the only door in Starfleet history that opens from the bottom. I just realized that. I love the way that they flip Data so that his face is showing as he's dragged under the door.
Oh man, brutal.
Down, and then the Borg goes, "We better flip him so that we can instill more horror in our audience if we let his face be seen."
So, there's a lot just happened. So, Larry, Picard firing on the Starfleet officer who was just infected by the nanoprobes.
Little trauma there, too.
Is that right? Is that justified?
Well, in hindsight, what are we doing to have a Tuvix debate here?
I mean, I think we need a little mini Tuvix debate. Folks, let us know. What would you do? Because, look, he was saved. He was saved from the assimilation process, but it was also an earlier season assimilation process without the nanotube bot, whatever they're called.
Yeah, the nanoprobes.
The nanoprobes, yeah. It was not as advanced assimilation process as we see now, but that's also seems a bit hypervigilant, a bit on guard, a bit on edge, and a bit cruel as well, since he was saved from assimilation. I don't know. I don't know how to think about that. Couple of other comments I want to stay on top of. Scott said, giant two-handed phaser rifle shots, explosion. Teeny tiny little hand phaser shots, same size explosion. That's right.
And 16 settings on a...
Jason's got a great question here. Who adapts better, humanity or the Borg? Larry, what do you think?
Let's see. Who ultimately prevails every single time? Let me guess.
I would say the Borg adapt better in the short term. Humanity really in the long term. Humanity is much better at learning lessons and being flexible.
You'd think for all their flying around in cubes that the Borg would be better about thinking outside the box, but ultimately no.
That was good. That was good. I love it, Larry. Have they ever tried arrows on the Borg? So I've wondered this, Christoph.
I've seen the debates about just go up and club, get bows and arrows and swords and things and just physically kill.
Oh, Larry. Okay.
To be in arm's length, see, of a Borg. So it's
Larry, the Star Trek line. Are you up or down on it?
I'm not thrilled with it, but it's hard. You know, I admire them trying to go for it. I wanted Geordi to go, there she is.
There. I'm pro Star Trek line. Because I think James Cromwell pulls it off. And I think it's also just if any movie is going to go for it, why not the movie that's about the genesis of Star Trek?
Yeah. And you're all
You're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek. Glenn says, thanks, Dr. Ali. Re-traumatization will be a thing after the pandemic. Yes, I absolutely agree.
Yeah. Well, but on the bright side, it's a topic for a Life Support Live. Or maybe 47.
Well, there's a little silver lining there. More bad guys?
Well, snobby guys, but basically.
Very snobby guys. And just wait till the next prequel series. You'll see how snobby they really get.
Meanwhile, that Velcro you're using on your...
Actually, we're right there.
Over there by picnic table 27.
Yeah. Christina says, I'm con for the Star Trek line. I'm guessing, Christina, that means you're down on it? Or does that mean you're really, like, into it? Like, con! I don't know.
Don't blow out your speakers with it. So I'm just...
Oh, really? Scott says, I like the conceit that Cochrane, of all people, invents Star Trek. I agree, Scott.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go through
Rose says, we humans will always adapt. We all can overcome anything. That's my opinion. Rose, something that really inspires me is if you look at our anthropological history, the period of greatest evolutionary advancement for humans also happened. Yeah. The period of greatest advancement in the history of our species occurred during a period of mass climate change. So I get hope in that it's in our species history to be able to cope with massive, large-term change. So we can get through that.
Warm to cold or cold to warm?
Warm to cold, I believe. I think it was the Ice Age. I'll have to fact check myself on that, or maybe someone in the comments can. Oh, the assimilation process happening. So, this is Larry, let's talk about the all-new Borg look.
I was going to say, this is a huge, the cinema. Mike Westmore was so thrilled to be able to do this because they had done, Q-Who, they'd had to do the Borg the first time on the run in the middle of the season, and they did what they could, but they were so ready to make them better than just guys wearing, old fighter pilot caps. And
old fighter pilot, yeah. And is it Hugh who had the sunglasses? It almost looked like they were just repurposed sunglasses.
I'll wear my Borg glasses at night. Yeah. No, it was very cool. There's one of the makeup guys named Barry Coper. I have a picture of this. To mass produce those, they did a head cap, but then he pre-cut lines so that all those different pieces you see they could make one piece and then break it apart and separate it. So they got 8 or 9 Borg drones head pieces out of one head casting. I was just okay.
I like the little detail that the crew is loosening up their uniforms because it's hot, like a Borg cube. And someone mentioned in the comments they gave Picard a lot of layers so he could strip them off over the course of the movie, which I think is right on. This scene is also beautiful. The music is about to swell. And what I love about this moment is there's a little tie-in to an insurrection when Picard says, when he's asked, has there been ever a moment that you felt like, you could live in or something like that? And Picard said, the first time I saw my planet from outer space, the first time I saw Earth, right? So the music's swelling. We're looking at Earth. There's a big tie-in to real NASA psychology here. The favorite pastime of astronauts is looking at Earth. It gives them this perspective that they never had before, and it's going to be one of our biggest challenges of getting to Mars. For the first time in humans' history, we won't be able to see our planet. And so NASA is trying to solve for that. How do we maintain a connection to Earth? Because that is the number one thing that helps astronauts get through.
Images to keep home fresh for our early space travelers. Oh, look, it's the making of Star Trek, 1968. Well, yeah, why the Enterprise has holodecks. But yet,
exactly.
Your planet from space, that totally throws back to me, just then you said that, not humans and Earth, but the Mintakans. And when they decide to break the Prime Directive to fix it, and Picard brings Luria, the proto-Vulcanoids, he brings Luria up to the ship. They go and he shows her planet from
Yep.
out the forward window. It's that same bit.
It's that
Oh,
same, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
People are asking for a time check. I am right now at 46 5 seconds. 40.
Oh, I did too until I stopped it.
Yeah, you and I are like, I think, perfectly in sync for once, Larry. This is wonderful.
For once. That means
as opposed to most Saturdays.
Minute 47.
Oh.
Good timing there to check.
Carissa says Lily is such a great character, and I really have to agree. I
gets overlooked a lot by a lot of people.
Gets overlooked a lot. Yeah, we don't learn too much about her, which is really a shame. She does, and we can criticize her as largely.
This is so awesome.
This is a wonderful effect of the Borg Queen being lowered into her body.
To show you how far things have come, just 3 years later or so, they redo this on Voyager even more intricately than they on a TV budget than they did on a live action budget in a feature. I mean, it's just amazing how fast things were changing. That
that era, the visual effects were really moving forward at a pretty breathtaking rate. The one thing about Lily is I think she largely serves Picard. Like, she doesn't have as much agency on her own. But she does have this arc of being sort of this person who's learning and a bit ignorant of her surroundings, and then immediately understands what's going on with Picard and the revenge. And she does have that turn.
She reminds me a lot of the people who was it? There was a native. Matthew Henson, the black explorer the American that went to the North Pole. And it's like the famous explorers. And half the time their number two are either right there with them and get ignored, or they lose out on the, they're not the name person. And Lily strikes me a lot that way with Cochrane. It's like she's the one, if he's that skittish and that prone to alcoholism or whatever, if he's brilliant but erratic, and she's the one keeping him on board, but she's not she's not an assistant. She's like partner here. So like I always assume, like, she's got a doctorate, she's got advanced education. That's why she's adapting. She's got a cognitive brain that works, and she's not running around screaming like all the poor locals there back in Bozeman or wherever it was called at the time. I mean, she's able to adapt because she has a superior intellect. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, she's traumatized, but once she gets to settle down, but if you do her backstory, she had to have been very well educated, very settled. In fact, she's got to be the mother to his craziness in their, partnership.
Andrew says, if they are in sync, I hope they don't sing. Andrew, be careful for what you wish for. My number one go-to karaoke song is Bye 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 by NSYNC. I will spare you that because I don't think... I don't know if Larry could, would.
No, your number one song, karaoke song, is "Magic Carpet Ride."
Oh. Dun, 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 dun,
there you go. They have 150 members in the Federation in there, and how many did it peak at, according to Discovery?
According to Discovery, it was 200 something, right?
Yeah. So they pick up plenty more members between the Borg and the Burn. That was a good line.
The Borg and the Burn. I like that.
Between the Borg and the Burn. And people love to rag on about the whole deck thing. 24 versus 26, and then later on.
Oh, yeah.
He meant there are 24 inhabitable decks that you could stand up tall in. That's what he meant. Listen, Ollie, listen.
I know. You mean you don't get paid?
Ourselves and the rest
of humanity.
There it is, guys.
As a famous Starship captain once,
under great duress once said. Should I tell the story on you?
Please.
So we did this for 2 months, And finally, I said something about that Picard line, and Ollie says, "Wait, that's a Picard line? The tag line that we open every show with?" I said, and then the one I do is from Pike. So anyway,
For 2 months, I thought Larry was, I don't know what I thought. I have no idea.
Get out of here.
One day I kind of asked you, I'm like, Larry, what lines are these from? And then you're like, Ali, what the heck are you talking about? So yeah, Glenn is bringing up here, but money does exist in the 21st century. Yeah, it's like we're gonna put the economics of this aside. I think most economists would say this doesn't work. You still need some way to trade with other. Yeah, trade is going to be important. And within the Federation, when someone joins them, do you just take away their currency? Like, how does this even work? Does this mean that
have it? We obviously know.
Well, and also like, while goods might be free, services, how do you compensate for them? But let's just enjoy this holodeck adventure, shall we? Because we got a new cameo.
I enjoyed seeing the graphic nerd. I'm a graphic nerd, so I enjoyed that. There we go. Johnny or Ethan.
So we now have 2 Voyager references, 1 Deep Space Nine reference with a Defiant.
I was at a party once and met the guy playing that. We were playing cards, and the guy playing bartender was there. It's like, oh. He knows it so well. And this was all at LA Union Station.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I see that.
One morning trying to figure out I didn't have the exact documents, and I was trying to figure out where we were looking at stills, trying to figure out what they would have redressed.
I totally can see that. LA's Union Station's beautiful. If folks have not been.
Yeah. But a lot of the stuff here is added. You had to get like ceiling shots to figure that. And somewhere in this scene, they're not really on camera, but Ron and Brannon are in this in costume. They're extras.
So we also have now more paying forward of Star Trek: The Next Generation canon. He's playing the role of Dixon Hill, which we've seen in a few different episodes on Next Generation.
Invented by Tracy Torme. Stunt guys all over the place.
And there's a great... You're going to see it on Picard's face right here.
Here we go. Physical...
Patrick Stewart's acting here, I think, is really... I think you got him. This is also getting to the complex ways in which trauma can change you and rewire you, and in some cases hotwire certain emotions together. That's something I really like about this movie. Is it's really a big deepening of Picard's psychology and what he's gone through, and what he's dealing with, and it's complicated, Larry. It's not all good or bad. It's not about recovery and you're done. Trauma is really complicated.
Yeah.
This was Ensign Lynch. Yeah. And this is
all Borg interface code bars like that, easily attached to a Starfleet train.
It's USB 20.0, a standard interface in the 24th century.
USB 47 by then.
Yeah. Oh, and we got another cameo, Larry. This is cameo number 3. Technically cameo number 2 because Ethan Phillips was playing a hologram. But we see Barclay again.
Yeah. It's funny, these moments, some of the things like that right there, like some of the stills that were out as stills, like that you saw, like when they're coming along the corner with the rifles, that thing of him turning was kind of like the standard Zephram Cochrane shot. And
this is just a great. It's like, folks, back off a little bit.
Zephram Cochrane. And then what they have, he's stalking, but not stalking. What's that? Kind of like the hovering. It's from a still.
I like this view from Geordie's perspective of his eyes, and that we're about to see. We saw a close up of his eye right now. We're about to see the way he's able to see.
Mm-hmm.
Look, folks, I love the fact that he worked up the guts to be able to ask Zephram Cochrane. You know how hard that is for Barkley?
But
I love that. I love that he was able to do that.
Mm.
Now, this is where I would have been like, Geordie, you told him about the statue?
Mm-hmm. Here's where he puts on his same psychologist of Scotty 1 and doesn't do the right thing.
Rebecca's commenting about the seatbelt vest, which is a great way to describe that.
There's no function on that damn pad. What's so special about your special pad, Geordie?
Statue? Carissa says, I gotta take a leak. Leak? I'm not detecting any leak. Don't you people in the 24th century ever pee?
Oh.
Get it. That's pretty funny.
You're clever 21st century slang.
Larry, I use that line with my friend Matt, whenever he's like, I gotta go take a leak when we're hanging out, and I go, leak? I don't detect any leak. And we crack up every time.
And there was a couple more of the Next Generation regular extras.
So I wanted to say here, I definitely have been, I'm a Klingon. Gosh, how scary must that be? The first contact you have with an alien and his Worf right there in your face.
Well, that's the throwback to the New York cop in Tomorrow's Yesterday that sees Spock in the transporter for the first, and they do that camera up pan, you know.
So I was Larry, very
perplexing transformation.
Very long story short, I was last minute filling in for someone at Star Trek convention in New York, and I was gonna host this panel with Julie Nimoy, where she was discussing her documentary, and they asked me to come into this green room right before to get ready for this panel, and I was just gonna be talking to Julie about it. And then in walks the entire cast of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and they're just hanging out casually right there across from me. And the person hosting, one of the people who worked there, kind of turned to me and looked at me and communicated without saying anything, "Play it cool.
Don't you dare fanboy here.
Don't you dare fanboy." That's the first rule of being around your heroes, is you got to play it cool, which Barkley and Geordie, I think, they were not in that moment.
Well, Geordie had a leg up, but Geordie can botch it himself. Oh, here we go. The cool spacesuits.
Oh my gosh, and even more cool uniforms. My gosh, Larry, this movie just keeps delivering.
Maybe it's gotten better, but for a long time, designing spacesuits in Hollywood has been the first day. Now, I wasn't there, but I've heard vivid stories from people. The first day they were shooting in these, it was mainly Patrick alone, and they just built the suit, and it's like he was like suffocating in it. They didn't have any kind of they wound up going back and trying to cram little fans in to make some and have a out. But they first built them without any kind of circulation system, and
Um.
he
Oh,
literally
sorry.
was like turning blue, and they're trying to act and trying to be tough guy and just get through the scene, but he was like getting lightheaded. They had to like stop for a day and go back and retool the helmets to make them not
Yikes.
killers. Yeah.
Yikes. That's not good. Rebecca and I just mind melded because I was thinking the exact same thing. She said the SpaceX suits look kind of like that. If folks haven't seen them, Google the SpaceX suits. They look a lot like that. They're probably even a bit of a cleaner design than what we see here. This is
so greatly. This is so conceived wonderfully, and I think they carried it off.
That's a wonderful shot. This whole scene, Larry, we were talking about this in a previous. I forget if we talked about this online or offline, but this whole sequence was a last minute change. I think the whole scene on the hull. It was supposed to be something else originally, or this was filmed as pickups, or I'm not remembering 100%, but I remember you telling me about that.
I'm not sure, but I'll think on it. We're going to be here for a while.
We're gonna be here for a while, right? If
I
folks
do
are kind
know
of
that the set that the dish was built on live was they had to go back and change the model to match the dish.
yes, that's it. That's it.
But also they picked the biggest stage at Paramount to build that set on, stage 15, not 16, but 15 is the tallest stage. So they were thinking because they have it's not very well done, but they have the weightless bit to it too. So they had to build like crane to get up. And anyway, it was a huge set that they were trying to make real. And so they're shooting that in the spring, summer of 96. And then by fall, that's the same stage where they had that 30th anniversary special. And they did it all at Paramount. They had the red carpet over in front of the theater. And then everybody came over, and the audience was sitting. Where they gave everybody an award. They had all the casts up till then all together of the 4 shows, and nobody had missed yet. There were a couple that had to miss, but I remember it vaguely because Nana and Sid had just had Django, had their baby, and they were taking turns. One of them would sit in the audience in the seats, and the other one was like at the adjoining stage green room, like walking the baby. And I walked over there once and I caught Sid over there with Django, and we talked for a minute. And then it was just funny. It was just like such a human moment. I'm totally tromping over the movie here, but anyway.
Yeah, this is a big moment coming here. Just one thing to mention, Tim says a downgrade in spacesuits in the 21st century, considering Discovery has retractable helmets a century earlier. Yes. As well as, take a drink, folks, the Kelvin timeline has some more advanced spacesuits as well.
Well, I mean, designers love and customers love to design them. It's just like making them work on a real actor for a real shoot becomes a pain.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So, Data, question for you, Larry. Is he acting here? Is he? How much of Data is being Data, and how much is he playing the Borg Queen? He mentions at the end of the movie, for like a brief moment, he was tempted.
Well, it's a little bit. It's like a 10 times bigger version of at the end of not The Price. I've gone blank. When he's in Kivas Fajo's collection and he's shooting him at the end. He's trying to shoot him from the transporter beam. And it's like, is he really overriding his programming to do no harm or whatever, or anger? I think he's pretty smart, and he's playing. It's one of those, it's like Spock and the Romulan commander things.
Yeah.
And Spock wasn't near the android that Data is.
I had very confused feelings when I saw this kiss. Really don't quite know what to
leaned back into her. I haven't focused on this kiss in, 20 years, Ali, so thanks.
No problem, Larry. That's what I'm here for. Oh my God. Larry, I feel the very same way about the special effects as I do some of the other films from this era, whether it's Jurassic Park or Starship Troopers. There's a wonderful blend of practical effects, some composite shots, a little bit of CG, more practicals in the close-ups, more digitals in the distance. And these things blend together so nicely, and they stand the test of time. It still looks good now in whatever year we're in. What are we in, 2020? What is this, March 2020 still?
Look how cool those trees look. They look like real trees.
They're so believable, these trees.
So believable.
That actually looks like James Cromwell.
That actually looks like stuff from Cochrane. I love how the graves are pre-dug. What is that? Oh, those are rocks.
That's
weird.
I don't want to be a statue.
This is like talking down the nervous actor out backstage.
That's quite a jump from that phaser blast.
Well, when you're not used to how a phaser on stun feels.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would be quite alarming.
Remember, phasers on stun always, the very first time you saw a phaser on stun was in Man Trap, and Dr. Creator does that kind of like jump when he's stunned.
yeah, I remember that.
So I think it's very canon, Ollie. I'll put the cool thing about this set was and I've gone blank on his name, and somebody's going to shoot me, but the photographer, the set photographer, this was a set that, it was kind of like the V'ger set from Motion Picture. It was easy to, like, if you walked certain places you could walk.
Yeah.
And you had to put on little booties and walk on. You couldn't walk on your street shoes because all of that was going to be in camera. But one day one day I got to have a set day and was watching, and he said, "You want a picture?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I have a picture of me up against the interplexing beacon there, the array in the middle, which you'll love this. Those, when you look at them up close, they're like rods.
Yeah.
It's clear parts here in a minute. Those are all made from they were like this futuristic bird feeders, and they bought about 40 of them. They bought about 40 of them and strung them together. But you'll see when you see the Borg working on it, it's the pieces they can pull apart and have to be practical with. This is so funny. It's like, oh look, it's a manual control on the hull of the ship to let the deflector dish go. See those things behind him? Those are all bird feeders, and then connected into a long, like, cylinder.
That's cool. I love that.
And then they put lights inside. The little coily part that's probably Anthony Fredrickson's handiwork.
Now, Larry, why aren't those phasers floating away? Are they magnetized to stay on the ship? Lieutenant Hawk just kind of put it down, and that phaser stayed there. But
obviously, well, it's a momentum thing too.
Yeah, maybe they use some programmable matter. Who knows?
No, I'm sure it's got a mag lock. It's got what keeps the phaser on your suit 100 years earlier? The magnetization.
Holster. Oh, yeah, sure. They sure do take their time assembling those bird feeders, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't want to make the birds mad. The space birds. The
great space birds of the galaxy.
The great space birds, right. You don't make them mad. The largest isolinear chips ever.
Are those?
Well, probably there's bigger, but I just think it's funny. We have to make this big enough to be manipulable in a glove.
They've adapted. Again.
Ooh, a pulse. And those rifles were adapted not to harm the hull of the ship. They're firing pulses.
Oh, Polly says, I love the panel colors.
Another historic moment. People forget this. When Worf goes after his drone.
Yeah.
Another movie moment. Another movie budget moment.
The Borg is not human. The Borg is Klingon, right? That Borg right there that we just saw.
Well, that's one thing too. As they got late, the makeup guys were getting so bored doing Borg that they started. I've got photos. There's Borg and Cardassian and Bolian. I mean, there's Klingon.
Oh, there's a Cardassian Borg. That's exciting.
There's a Bolian Borg.
Ooh.
There.
Yes.
That's the debut of the Mek'leth.
Oh.
Needed a small knife for him to be wearing that whole time.
I love that Worf was just carrying that.
The people, the debut of them, which was quickly adapted back into DS9, retconned into DS9, but.
I didn't notice this until Polly mentioned it, but Polly says, I love the panel colors. One is red, one is yellow, and one is blue. I don't know, it just makes me smile. I never noticed that, but I love that too. We've got all of our divisions of Starfleet represented here.
Just like California class starships.
The California class, yeah. Oh, poor Lieutenant Hawk. Lieutenant Hawk gets assimilated fast.
Mm-hmm. Well, that happens when you're in low gravity. The nanoprobes work faster.
They do work faster. Yes, that's true. This scene again, great suspense and tension here.
Mm-hmm. And the warped viewpoint of
yeah. There's so many little touches, and this Picard maneuver we're about to see. Dun 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 dun. This moment of Picard floating feels very 2001: Space Odyssey to me.
Well, it feels very 1996 effects, but yeah.
That's maybe why. Yeah, that's probably why.
Big scrim project. Okay, but yes, very.
The sound design is really wonderful here too. We have a lot of new sounds that are introduced, but we also have a lot of refreshing of sounds from the Next Generation.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, that's one thing. It doesn't take much to store audio, even when you're on analog tape. So much less digital. This is so analog. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. But for them, this was an actual live effect that they did. They didn't show a lot of it, obviously, and that's like a little CGI pullback. But
Brian says they could have used some self-sealing the spacesuit from Enterprise. Brian, I think they could have used some self-sealing stem bolts here. And Jason says the action figures of the Klingon and Cardassian Borg, they're pretty awesome. I forgot about those, but yeah, we had a lot of toys tying into this scene of Worf just tying up his hole with a Borg arm. That is probably the most Klingon thing you could possibly do, and I love it. I am here for it.
Oh no, deflector dish on overload. Oh no, wait.
Picard's got it.
Okay. And that's why a phaser is always better than a lightsaber. He's 30 feet away and pinpoints that blast.
Love it. Oh my gosh, look at that beautiful model.
Say it, Worf, say it.
Oh, yes. Boom. Well, that was a very satisfying scene.
Nearly killed him, but yeah.
The scale, too. It's so rare to see scale of humans and or scale of people to starships, so that's a wonderful moment right there.
Back in Bozeman.
Meanwhile, back in the B storyline, Larry, was it Playmate still who had the exclusive toy deal with Paramount for Star Trek goods at this time? I think all those toys at the time.
Oh, the 90s. Yeah, the 90s is all Playmates action figures. Yeah.
I remember a lot of we had a lot of Star Trek First Contact related products during this time. I think the Micro Machines deal was over at this point. I don't remember Enterprise D Micro Machine.
Well, I don't think they got to do like breaking stuff. I think they got to do legacy things. But yeah, I don't think they did any movie tie-in.
There was a Micro Machine Enterprise D from All Good Things. I remember that, the 3 Nacelle Future Enterprise. I think that was probably as far into the future as they got. We also had an Enterprise B. So I know they got to do Generations. Maybe there was a Phoenix. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check that to see. I know by the time we got to Insurrection and Nemesis, Micro Machines was done. Maybe First Contact they had a few.
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was going to have to prep for licensee history too for this thing today.
Larry, I thought it was just always in there. I thought it's always.
I didn't. Well, somewhere between I got my toys from the licensing warehouse, or it was too beneath me and I didn't mess. In the 70s, it was like, I mean, people love the Spock helmet now, and I don't even remember seeing it. But if I did, I would have gone, well, that's obviously a piece of crap. That didn't exist in the show.
Glenn is saying a Jedi would have just used the Force, and Lone Star would have used the Schwartz. Don't try to be a great man, Larry. Just be a man.
Just be a man.
Oh, Scott is fact checking me here. There is a Playmates Phoenix.
Yes.
Yeah, but is there a Micro Machine Phoenix?
That was the point. Yeah. No, I remember that. I may even still have my Phoenix.
Yeah.
I had some of that stuff I was getting rid of, but I didn't. And the nacelles popped out. It was the whole. It wasn't just the capsule. It was the whole rock, and the nacelles clicked out.
You know what I always wanted? I wanted the bridge playset from Playmates. And I think there might have even been like a transporter room playset.
Now this guy survived, and he's in Insurrection. I think he gets his name in Insurrection. I've forgotten what it is. Something simple.
Oh yeah, he is in Insurrection.
Yeah. Because the line must be drawn here, and no.
This is also, Larry. This movie's so good.
Yes.
Here we have a Worf and Picard moment, which is deepening of their relationship. I think we can criticize the later movies as not giving enough of our different relationships a time to shine. But everyone gets something in First Contact, which I really love.
It's the Star Trek IV of the Next Generation movie. Allowing your personal experience. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not all in sync.
Oh, this is a great question from Tim. What happened to the original two co-pilots of the Phoenix? Well,
thought about that. Well, they're dead bodies in the barn down there.
Well, there's your answer. And it's
or whether
kind of
Lily
bummer.
was supposed to be. I think Lily was supposed to be ground crew. I don't think she was supposed to be a co-pilot.
Yeah, I don't think Lily was supposed to be a co-pilot. I think the same thing that happened to our leader of the San Francisco Revolt, Larry. What's his name? From
the Bell Riots. Yeah,
Gabriel. Yeah. The same thing that happened to Gabriel, Tim, is what happened to those co-pilots.
I was like, he's working on a model in the middle of a crisis.
Yeah, what's he doing? I really need to fix these isolinear rods. I think he's trying to remodulate some frequencies to get a little bit more firepower out of them.
This is before
the Borg adapt.
I'm adding some special lighting to my Ferengi Decora class mod. I want the crab feet to come out of arms to come away from the mod.
It calms me down. The lighting, Larry. I just want to comment on
it's
the cinematography.
You can't have bright.
I mean, you couldn't get farther away from a TV look here, because Generations was really kind of, no pun intended, trying to bridge the lighting and the changes between TV and cinema. But here, this is very clearly lit and shot for a cinematic.
Can I just say, I think it's really foresightful of Starfleet to design, and the people who tailor-made, the dressings on the Enterprise Z especially, because I'm sure those ships are all very precious things, and for them to have, built a protective display case that will let nothing at all happen to those precious models of history.
Yes. It's really high quality 24th century tech.
It's so glad
kind of unbreakable.
I mean, on the D, the big half, the bas relief plaster ships were just hanging up. They could have just fallen off and broke. They get the minute the Heisenberg compensators fail, or the inertial gravity fails, and everybody's falling out of their seats even more than usual.
Now,
thankfully, in this new model, we have a specially designed protective display case.
A little fun fact here: Patrick Stewart goes on to play Captain Ahab very shortly after this.
Yes.
For a TV movie adaptation of Moby Dick.
Maybe not so much. What's cool is John Eves. Those were all either model kit or Playmates ships. I've got the exact breakdown
Oh,
in
really?
the companion. Yeah, that are then spray painted. And
Spray
then
painted gold?
let me. I can tell you real quick. Okay, the D, the A, and the original Enterprise are all AMT model kits. The Playmates model is the B, and a fan's garage kit was the C. Because there was no commercial C kit yet. There you go, bang. See, this is why you have Trekland. There's your micro K3 factor.
Micro K3, like a micro machine. Larry, the if folks watch the trailer, the full trailer to Star Trek First Contact, you see an alternate take here of Picard's reading of that line of the line must be drawn here. And I can't remember correctly, but I don't know if the original line was also "I will pay for what they've done to me." I don't remember, but I don't know if that's a false memory or not. But I have some memory of that.
Jared says there's somebody from Lower Decks who has the job of checking on the model ships every day.
They totally.
Yeah, then Christoph says Picard mail ordered all those models from Eagle Moss. Yes, because obviously in the 2300s there'd be no AMT and Playmates don't exist anymore, obviously.
Dan says I was really looking forward to this film to see the cloaking device of the official Star Trek magazine revealed would be on board the Enterprise E. Obviously, I was disappointed. Was that a thing, Larry? Were they going to have a cloaking device on the Enterprise?
I'm trying to think. Maybe in one of the earlier drafts. That doesn't ring a bell right off, but I will look. So Nathaniel's. Suddenly we found the chat here. Nathaniel's saying, why does that line get so much attention? Because it's Sir Patrick delivering it. It's one of those iconic, why does Khan get so much attention from Wrath of Khan?
Yeah, it is the Khan. It's the Khan of, that's clearly that model. I built that model, Larry. I know exactly.
Yours looked that way several times.
And we're about to see the lifeboats, which is wonderful. As someone who read the tech manual, I always wondered what it would look like for those lifeboats to fire off on the Enterprise D.
Oh, this was such an awesome nerd boy moment here.
Oh, yeah.
For them to leave.
More seatbelts, folks. A lot of seatbelts in this post-apocalyptic, post-World War III future. Apparently, people were very concerned about their safety.
That was the equivalent of the blast door on the engineering, only the guy couldn't do a barrel roll sideways. So.
Yeah, Jason's got a great comment here. I think Picard's unwillingness...
47. Did you hear that? His code was command 47 Alpha Omega.
47?
Yes.
Where are they going? They're going to...
Yeah, this was awesome to see how people load up the...
Larry, where are they going?
They're getting
in
the
escape pods. No, I know they're getting in escape pods, but what island are they headed to?
Gravette Island, which is not a real island. It's named for Jacques Gravette, who was Ron's assistant then, and he's gone on to become a film editor. He was an assistant editor by the time of Enterprise, and he's an editor now.
Yeah, so Jason had a comment here about Picard's unwillingness to blow up the damn ship, and it might be because he's already given his loss of humanity. He's lost too much, and him dealing with everything he's gone through. Sometimes when people go through trauma, they kind of get stuck, and they have a hard time thinking a bit more flexibly about some of the situations they've been through. And I think Picard was kind of going through that. He needed that comparison to Captain Ahab, which again beautifully ties into Picard's love of literature that's been established in The Next Generation. It's what really helped him to see how he was going down a path that is really not the best for his crew and for humanity. And the captain must go down with the ship here, taking this last moment to take a look around at the bridge. This is a wonderful moment.
Well, and it really leads you on. Everybody's gotten in the pods, and he's here and watching the movie.
Hold on, folks. Get your drink ready. You know about to reference right now, Larry. The Kelvin timeline. in Star Trek Beyond, Kirk is the last one looking at the bridge, last one left on the bridge as that ship is about to be destroyed. That scene really is evocative of this moment right here that Picard had in First Contact.
Oh, okay. You found something in the Kelvin movie worth linking to.
I love this moment too. Oh no, not Ooby Dooby. This is Magic Carpet Ride. Look at that physical media, folks. Physical media is still around.
Well, we had the big comeback. It's post World War III. The EMP.
That's right. They don't have digital media.
CG.
Is this the first time we're getting like some pop music in Star Trek, Larry?
I want to say pretty much this whole, well, you had some older pop music. You had out of some of the jazzy stuff from Dixon Hill and Minuet's Holodecks. From Out of Nowhere is an old standard song too.
Well, is this a first vocal pop music we have in Star Trek?
I think so, yeah. Ron Moore wanted to make it Gimme Shelter, but...
Oh.
Yeah, but they went with Magic Carpet Ride. Probably easier.
Magic Carpet Ride fits better.
Yeah. I'm just looking at some of my old notes here.
I also just love how evocative this is of our Apollo liftoffs, of now the Dragon liftoff, of this feels like it's very relatable to see this type of launch.
Well, jettisoning and all the parts coming away, all the bangs and booms, the metallic.
The stages.
Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of talk about...
seeing your Earth, seeing your planet from the first time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Christina says didn't need to read the whole book, but she read a synopsis. Christina is someone who hasn't read a lot of the classics and has also, in my day, read a lot of Cliff Notes. I love that moment. Now more like Spark Notes, I believe, is what the younglings refer to them as.
What are you talking about?
Lily. She never read Moby Dick.
She was too busy engineering her way into history.
I love seeing these escape pods go.
Mm-hmm.
There's just
it's that wish list of stuff you never got to see, so you set it up for a movie budget. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that was a lot of money that was just spent on a 5-second shot. That's what's so great. You could do that in a motion picture when you just can't on
those elements to render them and have it. Yeah.
Oh man, we're getting a lot of love for Cliff Notes from Polly and from Glenn, and from Glenn Williams and Glenn Iverson. A lot of love for Cliff Notes here.
Mm-hmm. This was all shot kind of.
What I want to say, Larry, about the score again is we have a Borg theme, we have the Next Generation Crew theme, we've got the Klingon theme, and what I think is so great about a score is if you can hear the score with your eyes closed and kind of imagine the scene. Like I think Wrath of Khan has the best score.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
And then the Genesis countdown agreed. But the Genesis countdown that 7 minutes, you can see the Reliant, you can see the Enterprise, you can see Khan, you can see Kirk. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But we have that here too. You can hear that Borg bum bum bum.
I always feel like it's some big processional.
Yes.
Yeah.
And kind of marching, the drones marching.
Yeah.
Yeah. This film does a really great job with those themes and evoking all the visual images here. I love that line. You think in such three-dimensional terms. Seven. Now, Seven refers back to the first contact moment here in a Voyager episode where she says, the Borg were present for the events of first contact. And they're like, I think, is it Harry and Paris are there or Torres? They kind of look at her and they're like, what? And then she's like, it's complicated. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah. It's a cute bit.
It kind of refers back to this, you think in such three-dimensional terms. I want to say, Larry, I want to say something that's not controversial, but yeah, please, allow me. I'm going to make an argument to say this film might be the most influential Star Trek film on the development of further Star Trek than
any other
since probably The Wrath of Khan.
Continuity, canon, background, historical moments, touchstones,
costumes, series, Enterprise really came from First Contact.
Mm-hmm. You have the Seven arc is out of this with a Borg Queen. It affected Voyager. You have Picard the series, obviously. Discovery's kind of exempt. I don't know. There's probably references in Lower Decks too. Well, the Gray Tops are in Lower Decks, but in a flashback. But I think that's true. But that's also evocative of who was doing it and when, and then it was around so long. Even the people who weren't part of this creative team were affected by it, and But you had to pick up Picard's story. It has to have all these threads.
Yes.
These parts of Picard's tapestry have to be part of it.
Larry, you did it. For those of you keeping track, thank you, I appreciate it. For those of you keeping track on your Life Support Live bingo here.
Jared says, who's on the bridge right now? The emergency command hologram, obviously.
Yeah, the emergency command hologram.
It's actually predates it, so probably. Oh no, he's in brothers mode.
Oh man, that reminds me. Where's Lore? What's going on with Lore?
He's all broken up about this. They experimented with different looks of how they would play the Data real skin. They did different sections where it's like his whole head and half his head, and finally they went with that partial.
I love seeing the different degrees of
the Borg hive. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay. Is that a new drink thing? Mention a Broadway musical? Okay.
Oh, I'm just imagining them singing. Oh, of course he says engage. Of course. That I think is like that's a little stretch.
And it's engage and it's and we have to have the reaction shot. Now this was cool watching them.
Yes. Yeah. Seeing them go to Warp 1 is really great. There's a wonderful YouTube video comparing warp speeds and how long it would take to get to like Jupiter or Saturn at these different warp speeds. Warp 1 is pretty slow, folks. It would take quite a while to get anywhere with Warp 1.
That's why we've had to keep fudging the warp factors in the scale, and it's local matter interferes with it too. Now that's just the way. That's like she got that from the Herosian or something.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what warp is going to look like with these new 32nd century ships, which have the nacelles are floating alongside. I'm very curious to see what that will look like.
It's like someday they're going to go, why do we even have these nacelles? Why are we even dragging them along? Okay, about to make the warp jump.
Star Trek's or Picard strip watch. Picard is down to his undershirt. Thank you, Rebecca, for the update there.
Your future's end, which is not a line in Future's End of Voyager. That's another confusion.
Listen to the warp nacelles of the night. Thank you, Carissa, for that.
I do not know him.
You're stuck with me. I'm not stuck in here with you, Larry. You're stuck in here with me in this little blue box of ours.
It's futile.
This phantom zone we're in.
Careful to say that resistance is not futile, because none of those serfs were ever able to overturn their lords and masters. So no, resistance was not futile.
Cairo says, when I first watched that, I definitely believed Data had switched sides, as did I. As did I.
Here's a little look ahead. If you subscribe to the official magazine, the captions logged photo of my next column is going to be out of this scene. It's a behind the scenes picture from this scene.
Oh.
If you get Dead Tree Media Star Trek from the official Titan magazine.
Larry.
One thing. That the cockpit of the Phoenix was later reused for the astronauts' cockpit in the Voyager episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know which episode you're talking about.
The Mars, the Ares 4 cockpit, and then also it was redressed and used again for the alien on the Blink planet, his ship. So even the Phoenix cockpit got reused. Okay, I cut you off.
I forgot what I was going to say. It was probably something silly. A great effects here with the Borg Queen. And the sci-fi trope of take out the Queen and the whole collective is gone. Another little reference to like aliens and so many others. I was going to ask you a silly technobabble question. Do you think Zephram Cochrane also invented inertial dampeners here? Because if they're going warp 1, you better have some inertial dampeners on board.
Did you hear him? He's rattling off. He says structural field integrity is on.
So he invented that.
He's got it.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
Seatbelts, too. They weren't taking any chances. They were strapped in.
Gosh, I love that sound of the gas being withdrawn. The sound design on this movie is so good.
Yep.
This movie's so well crafted.
And those Borg alcoves immediately turned around and recycled. Those are the alcoves made for 7 in Voyager.
Yep. Oh, Scott says that's also the cockpit of the warp test flight in Enterprise.
Oh, yes.
That cockpit has really been on a long road, Larry.
It's historical. Getting from there to here, boy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know what? But its time is finally near.
I can see my dreams are a lacking back, or whatever they say. I was that line that I never can understand.
I could see my dreams are alive at last. I can touch the
is that what
sky.
They say? This is something about I can see my dreams are a lacking back, or something.
A lacking back?
I don't know. At least that's not as bad as not knowing.
You got to get some lacking back from the hardware store, Larry.
Now the
very Terminator 2 here.
Yeah. The Borg Queen's skull and spine were on display in a lot of the museum shows. Data, Captain, Data, Captain.
Also a bit more very Terminator-esque here. The music's swelling.
Mm-hmm.
You think the movie's over, but no. First contact is ahead.
Oh, we have much more to go. We have much more history to make.
There's so much history to make here, folks.
Part of me is sorry
she was unique.
We could have discovered so much more about the collective.
I love this look. How long a time, Data? 0.86 seconds. I'm sure Brent loved being in that makeup, whatever the heck they glued to his face there.
Well, the LEDs are all on top of the metallic faceplate. Oh, here's a piece of trivia. So Mike Westmore's son, Mike Jr., who's an electronics whiz and did a lot of the data. Anytime you saw the data had peeled away in the series and it got better and better and better as the tech got better. In this one, the Borg drone things are all blinking in different Morse codes, and they spell out people's names. Things.
That's pretty cool.
Just to stay alive, just to stay like awake while they were having to do it all.
So, I want to say here, Christoph said Dr. Singh surely loved red and green LEDs. Yes, he did. Larry, I'm really happy that April 5th has now become more of a Star Trek Day celebration. It's really lovely because May the 5th, first contact, yeah. May the 5th has become this like unofficial Star Wars Day. And I love that in Star Trek we're celebrating this moment that we're about to see that sort of changes. This is where our timeline really diverges and becomes the Star Trek timeline. And I love that we're beginning to sort of celebrate and commemorate what Star Trek means to all of us in this,
we have Star
this
Trek
grand
Day
story.
in September for the birthday, but then
For the birthday, yeah.
Contact Day, yeah. And everything from Star Wars is just cute, wordsy stuff, like May the 4th. Ha ha ha! How clever. It's a nice homily, but
And Revenge of the Sixth.
yeah. And then Star Trek's premiere is like in May, so it's kind of like right or later in May. It's like all their holidays are like right together. Ours are spread out.
Rose says, "Ollie, you have to get a really big ladder to touch the sky." Another example of production value here, cinematic production value. They made this another ship here. Larry, I don't know if this was CGI or if this was a model.
No,
clearly, the close-up is a set.
The leg is built real because they pulled it out and used it to reshoot that scene for In a Mirror Darkly with the
and Larry, this is your Lower Decks reference. We see this ship again in Lower Decks.
Yes.
In their Smithsonian, their version of the Smithsonian.
Carly Fredrickson he's been retconned to be Solkar. In the Enterprise writers really wanted him to be down the Spock Sarek lineage, and he's been retconned to be Solkar that gets mentioned.
Is there any way I can have you for about 10 minutes?
Yeah, I'm be away from 10, and I'll be right back.
This is also a moment that we see in. This is also a moment we see in Star Trek Enterprise. We see the alternate take of this from the Mirror Universe, and we see Zephram Cochrane shoot the Romulans and kind of pillage their ship. That was a wonderful Mirror Universe alt take on this whole moment. Cairo, live long and prosper. Thanks. That feels like a very human way of responding to that. Oh, Rebecca's saying we celebrate 1701 here. So, Rebecca, I'm assuming that's January 17. I love that. Celebrating the sort of Enterprise Day there. Tim saying the birth of the Terran Empire. A slightly updated beam up effect right there as well. I'm a little surprised that the Vulcans did not detect them. I mean, Vulcans clearly have pretty good tech at this point. I mean, it makes sense that the Enterprise might have maybe it's shields or something, a better way of sort of hiding itself than the Vulcan tech at this point. But it was a little hard to believe. I love seeing this image right over here of the Enterprise recreating that time dilation, whatever thing, and kind of floating away. The idea, I love this idea that you might be able to, in this future, you might be able to see large starships from the distance of the surface of the planet Earth. And like, this is okay. So for all of you who are like, why are the Vulcans so the way they are in Enterprise? It's because of this. It's because they meet humans in this situation. They're meeting humans right at the post World War III. These are not the humans that we see in the original series. These are humans that are going through a big transition. They're transforming from us to Kirk and company. So I can kind of understand why the Vulcans might be a little concerned about these humans that have just achieved warp flight. Yeah, Rebecca saying, seriously, how did this song not scare off the Vulcans? I'm with you. I'm definitely with you there. And Polly saying, I love how this influenced Enterprise, and I completely agree with you, Polly. It's wonderful to see how these things tied together. As I was saying before, I think this is the most influential. This is one of the most influential Star Trek films in terms of impacting what came after it. Rebecca, oh, these credits are pissing me off. Why? Why are you sad? Is it because the movie's coming to an end? We still have a few minutes left, and we have a beautiful score that we can listen to. Daniel says, can you imagine the sky once we get all the starships going? Yeah, I think that would be just so beautiful to see. I mean, you can already see the International Space Station if you've got a good enough telescope and you also have some clear visibility. But the idea of, as Riker says, looking at the moon, and I think he says, what, New Tycho City or something like that, being able to see all those settlements on the moon, and this idea of being able to look into orbit and seeing the space station, seeing that space station from Star Trek 3, or from being able to see just a bunch of starships in orbit. What a beautiful sight that would be. Oh, Christoph! This might be why the Vulcans are so annoyed. Is superior hearing, clearly from the speakers for entertainment. That would be really hard if you have those the Vulcan senses, and Cochrane has just turned up the jukebox. I can see why they might be a little annoyed. Dan says, I noticed Janet's credit. Ah, Larry, where are you, Larry? Larry, we need you. We missed. I missed it, and I can't rewind now. There she is, Janet Nemecek. No, I see her. Assistant production associates. I got it. I saw it. Yes! That is so cool. New Berlin on the moon. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for that. Oh, Rebecca said, the way they credit the names of the characters annoys me. I can see that. Polly, it's been wonderful to have you. Polly says, I'd love to be in touch. Polly, join our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/lifesupportlive to stay in touch with the community. And we'd be happy to see you there. William says, New Armstrong City on the moon. Galinda says, and I'm off to work for the credits. Folks, this has been... I'm still hanging out here until the credits are over, and maybe Larry will come back. I don't know. Who knows? But it's been just so much. It's been so fun to have this watch along with all of you. This movie is one of those movies where anytime I'm feeling down, I need to pick me up, I can come back to Star Trek First Contact. It lays down the philosophy of Star Trek, of how humanity uniting under a peaceful exploration of the stars, of cooperating with other species, of valuing diversity. This is the core philosophy of Star Trek, and it's all laid out here in this movie. And this movie is about so much. It's also action. It's also suspense. It's got a little bit of horror. There's wonderful new starships, wonderful new uniforms, a brand new look for our crew, some wonderful moments from all of our characters. this is one of those movies that I can always come back to whenever I need to feel just a little bit better about myself. When I need a little life support in my life, Star Trek First Contact is it. Oh, folks, a wrap up on the credits. Dan saying this has been fun. Thanks, everyone. I can't agree more with that. Tim saying looking forward to watching the next. What do you all want to watch next? What would it be? Would it be an episode? A film? We've done Star Trek Insurrection. We did that for July 4th. We did It's Only a Paper Moon from Deep Space Nine. Now we've done Star Trek First Contact. What else should we watch together? I don't know, folks. I'm a little torn. The Voyage Home is always a great one to watch together. Wrath of Khan is always a ton of fun. Larry's not here, so I can say it. Star Trek 2009 would be a great watch along as well. And then there's, so many episodes we could talk about, from All Good Things to so many others. Let us know in the comments, folks. What should we watch? Glenn is saying Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, Cairo 2009 would be fun. Yeah, I'm with you there, Cairo. I'm with you on that. Christoph, meanwhile, not 2009. I kind of just want to see what would happen to Larry if we make him watch it. Oh my gosh. Carissa says, this is my favorite movie of all time. It was fun watching it with you guys the day before my birthday. Happy birthday! Happy birthday to you, Carissa. Wonderful for you to be having that so soon, and hope you have a wonderful birthday. For the next watch along, Tim says, I hope it's a two-parter episode. Any series will do. Interesting. Interesting. If we had all of our ducks in a row, maybe we could have done The Best of Both Worlds, First Contact, and then maybe an episode from Voyager, but we did not have all of our ducks in a row. Paul is saying happy Thanksgiving to you all in the U.S. We had Thanksgiving here in Canada 5 weeks ago, and sadly, cases are on the rise again. Please stay safe. Folks, please, stay as safe as you can. If you are going to see other folks, try to minimize the risk as much as possible. Wear a mask, socially distance yourself from other folks. If you can, do it outside. If you can't, please ventilate yourself very well. Be very careful and cautious. It's a tough time. There is hope on the horizon. We're getting wonderful news about different vaccines that are coming very, very close to being authorized for emergency use. But we still have a good long road ahead of us before vaccines are released in a way that is going to make a big change. So please take care of each other and be safe. We've got a long winter ahead of us, but you know what? We're gonna continue to be here for each other. We're gonna continue to help each other. As Larry and I promised, we are here for the duration of this, of however long this might be, and whatever is going to happen, Larry and I is going to be here. As Cairo said, there's still a long road getting from here to there. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, folks. Looks like we might not be getting Larry back here. I think he had to attend to an urgent issue. But I'm going to I'm gonna try to channel my inner Larry here. Larry's got a big day after Thanksgiving collaboration going on. So if anyone's interested in the day after Thanksgiving event, check out Larry Nemecek's Trekland on Facebook, or check out our Facebook group page for Life Support Live. You'll see all the links for that. So if you'd like to hang out with Larry the day after Thanksgiving, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to do that. And wherever you are watching this, please make sure you subscribe to Trekland, Larry Nemecek's Trekland on YouTube, like Larry Nemecek's Trekland on Facebook. We also have a Twitch channel if anyone's watching on Twitch. I think Cairo is usually representing the Twitch audience. Life Support Live on Twitch. If you like more from me, you can find me on Twitter at Mattu. On YouTube, I'm at The Psych Show. No, there's no at on YouTube. What am I talking about? YouTube.com/The Psych Show will get you to my YouTube channel where I talk about psychology and mental health. And I'm on Instagram as well at Mattu. Folks, this has been a ton of fun. I love watching Trek with all of you and celebrating this thing we love so much together. I wish we could just keep doing this, but I need to get back to work. I think some of you need to get back to work. And those of you watching in Europe, you're probably getting ready for bed. But folks, this has been a ton of fun. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your week. Life Support Live will be back not this Saturday, but the Saturday after. And until then, folks, live long and prosper, and trek well, everybody.